The need here is we have some fire roasted tomatoes, and I like to use fire roasted because they just have a little bit more flavor. We're going to need some tomato paste. I've got some chili powder, about a teaspoon here. We've got some diced onion. This is about half of an onion. And I've got about 4 green chilies. These come in a can and they're very mild, so they're not too spicy. Here I've got a teaspoon of ground cumin. And of course we have our eggs. And here I've got my cotija cheese, which what you want to do is take it out and crumble it. I just use my hands to crumble it up, and it's a nice non-melting cheese. And here we've got our avocado for garnish. And of course we're going to use some oil. Now you can use olive oil, or today I'm just going to be using some vegetable oil. And we're also going to need some corn tortillas and some cilantro for garnish. We're going to start our recipe by cooking our ranchero sauce first. So the first thing we're going to do is I've got a frying pan here, and I'm going to turn the heat up to medium-high, and I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons of oil. All right, and then I'm going to add my tomato paste. And the reason why we're doing this is by cooking the tomato paste in oil first, it's going to add a more roasted flavor to our recipe. And we're going to do this. I'm going to stir this up and cook it over medium heat for about 5 minutes. Being careful not to let it burn. So I'll just keep stirring it until you know, it starts to brown a little bit. Okay, so you can see here that the tomato paste is starting to certainly cook up a bit. It's changing the color of the oil. And I want to continue to stir it up pretty good. And the next thing I'm going to add to this is I'm going to add just a little bit more oil, just a teeny bit, and I'm going to add my onions. Now if you're going to add jalapenos, for example, diced jalapenos because you like it really spicy, now would be the time to do that. I'm not doing that because my family doesn't really like things that spicy. So we're going to saute the onions for about 8 minutes so they get nice and soft and translucent. And we'll be back in a second. Our onions have been sauteing here for about 5-6 minutes, and I've been stirring them occasionally. So now I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients for the sauce, which is the diced tomatoes. I'm going to pour those in. The green chilies, the cumin, and the chili powder. So I'm going to stir all this up until it's well blended. I'm going to get the temperature back up a little bit so that it can simmer. And we'll let this simmer for about 10 minutes so all the flavors can meld together. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Our sauce, our ranchero sauce, has been simmering now for 10 minutes, and we want to give it a little taste, make sure we have it seasoned properly. So I haven't added any salt yet, so I'm going to go ahead and salt it. Add a little pepper as well, just a little bit. And I'm going to stir this up. I'm going to give it a little taste and see if we need to add any more salt. Let's see how we're doing. That's good. Okay, so in the meantime, what I'm going to do, this is ready to go. What I did here is on this little frying pan over here, we're going to fry up our corn tortilla. So I just put enough oil to cover the bottom of the pan, and I've got the heat on medium. So now the next step is going to be we're going to go ahead and put it all together. Okay, so now we're going to cook our corn tortilla. Use some tongs, lay it into the oil, and you can see it's starting to bubble up. We're just going to cook it for a few seconds, and then I'll flip it over. This is where you're going to get a lot of your flavor from. It's like making enchiladas. You do this step, and your tortillas are just so much more flavorful. All right, that's all we need to do. We don't want it to get stiff and hard. So we'll lay it on paper towels there, and you can pat it dry and just set it aside. Now, what I'm going to do with the eggs, well, first I'm going to dump out some of this hot oil. So I'm going to pour it into this mug here just to get rid of the oil because we have too much in there to cook our eggs. All right, and you can always add a little bit of butter if you want to the pan, but I'm just going to use it as is. Now, we're going to crack our egg. We're going to make these sunny side up. Drop it into your pan. Hopefully your egg yolk doesn't break. You can see how the whites are starting to get white and cooked up, but I want to make sure that all of the egg whites cook up before I take it out. So now we're ready to plate it up. It's a nice idea to heat up your plate before you serve your eggs. I like to stick mine in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and your plate's nice and hot, and that way it keeps your food warm. So we're going to take our tortilla, place it on there, and what we're going to do is take our egg and slide it carefully onto our tortilla, just like that. And then we're going to top it with some ranchero sauce. It's nice and hot. There you go. Now I'm going to go over and finish garnishing it up. So to garnish up the rest of our dish here, I'm going to slice up a little avocado. Just cut off a piece, make a couple slices like that. Now I'm going to go ahead, sprinkle a little of the cotija cheese on top, grab a little parsley, got some fresh stuff right here, just give it a little chop, we'll sprinkle on top, and then we'll take some of our avocado and just place it right there on top. And look at that, that is delicious.